Hi everyone, my name is Lori, my nickname is Reenie, and I'd like to welcome you to Reenie Bo Beanie Creations. If this is the first time you've stopped by to check out my channel, I'd like to offer you a very warm welcome. I do hope you like what you see, and if you do, please give it a thumbs up. That really does help us out. Consider subscribing and sharing with your fellow crafters. To all my amazing subscribers, I am so glad you're back. And this week we are going to make a wind chime. Actually, this week we were supposed to be doing this cabinet, but we got rain. And I have to do most of it outside because it's too big to try and paint my house. So that one's coming up, so you're going to want to stay tuned for that because I got some cool stuff going on with that. So in the meantime, I did have, if you watched my video last week, I did a lighting feature for on our deck using an old bamboo blind that I'd taken apart. So this week we are making this, and I know this is a terrible picture and it doesn't all fit in, but you'll see the pictures at the end. And this was just made from the top part of that bamboo blind, the part that everything attached to. So it worked out perfectly. I love the sound of the bamboo in the wind, and I just thought I'd give it a little extra with some bells and some dings and that sort of thing. So I hope you like it. I know they do sell the bamboo stakes at the dollar stores, and they are the 5 feet, which is what I used. So I did go and check and make sure that was something you can do. The bells I had in my stash, but you can get bells anywhere. And these little butterflies, they're the ones you put on your tablecloth to keep them in place. So I just used those, and everything came from the dollar store, including the beads. So let me stop yakking at you and we'll get on with the crafting. So if you caught my video last week, we did a stand-up light thing using, I had this old blind and I took the bamboo slats out of it to make this lighting feature. Anyway, this piece, which I will try and get as much of it in as I can, but it's quite long, it's 5 feet long, and this was the top of it. This is what everything was attached to. So I had an idea how to use this too. So it is 5 feet long. So we're going to make a wind chime, and I'm going to cut, so the first piece I'm going to cut is going to be the top, what everything's attached to, and I'm going to cut it to 1 foot. And I got these handy, amazing little tool from my husband. It's actually what am I trying to say, a pipe cutter, but should work wonderful as a bamboo cutter. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm just going to mark wherever I put my pen. That'll do. The 1 foot mark. And actually I just lied. I'm going to go 13. So we got a little bit extra on the end here. And then just using my tool. Okay, we're actually on to plan C. I cannot find any of my saws, not my miter boxing saw, not my little hacksaw. This is overkill, but it will do the job. And aside from tearing my entire craft room apart to see where I put them this time, we're just going to do this. This is going to actually, your miter box would be easier than this. Okay, we're actually not doing this either. I'm going to go get my, what kind of saw is it? A jigsaw. But I'm going to do it outside, and it's really windy, so I don't think you'll be able to hear. Okay, so you can see I got them all cut and sort of laid out, and I'm just going to take a bit of sandpaper just to get off any scraggy bits. It doesn't have to be perfect, but that'll just keep any sort of, the bamboo likes to splinter a little bit when you saw it. So I'm just going to tidy it up just a bit here. Okay, so now we're going to need our drill. Now if you don't have a drill, you could just tie around them, and similar thing here, the attaching of it might be a little bit more difficult, but you wouldn't want to use like a hot glue. You'd want to use maybe a wood glue or something and really wrap your twine or whatever, and then let it sit till it's good and dry. Otherwise it may not survive out in the elements. But to start, so I just want to mark, oh, I got the right one, where I want them. Now I am going to eyeball them a bit, and the reason I'm doing that isn't because I'm too lazy, it's because being that they're slightly different widths and stuff, they will look off if you don't. So just kind of lay them out so they look pretty even. I think that's good. And then I'm just gonna mark where I want to drill my holes. And then I'm just going to use my smallest drill bit, but I am going to get my cutting board so I don't drill into my table. Alright, and then we're just going to try and drill through as straight as possible through both sides. So we got all of our holes there. And again, I'm just going to take a quick sandpaper and just clean them up a bit. As I said, they do like to splinter a little bit. Alright, so that's the top piece. Now for these pieces, we're going to do the same thing, but we just want to do one hole at the top. So I'm just going to kind of, I'm going to say about a ½ an inch down. So we got the top hole drilled, and now we're going to do one in the bottom. And this one's going to be a little tricky for me, I'm thinking, because I've got some of this, I guess, what do you call that, the rib, the joint, wherever. So I'm going to do my best to keep them as even as possible, but I'm kind of probably going to have to go just above the joint or whatever you call it. So that's how I'm going to make my measurements. So again, just same thing, just drilling through. Okay, so I have dug into my stash. Well, I bought these on purpose for this project. And this is just those tablecloth weights. I'm only going to use 3 of them. And then I've got these bells that I really like that I've had in my stash. I think I got them at a garage sale. Some wooden beads, stay, and then some fishing line. So once I've got my fishing line, I was originally putting it through the butterfly first, but I think putting it through the bamboo piece first actually seems to be working better, so we're going to do that. I'm going to stick these through the holes. I'm going to decide about how long I want it to hang, and then I'm going to do a knot. Okay, and then I'm going to alternate between the bell and the butterfly, but I am not going to make you watch this whole painful process. I don't see as well as my young eyes used to, so it's a little bit tedious for me. Alright, so we're just, like I said, we're going to alternate, so make sure you're putting them in the right ones, right? Like, put them in order of the length. and that's what we're gonna do. Okay, after much trial and error, I think I finally got it figured. It's just been harder than I expected, and part of it is just that, you know, I need glasses for real, and so being that this is see-through, it is a little bit hard to see, but I was really struggling getting the fishing line through the holes. Well, I discovered a couple of things that hopefully will make your life easier. When you look in the holes, some of them are just perfect, but then you'll see other ones and it's almost like inside the bamboo there's like a paper lining is almost what it looks like. And so you may have to just take your little drill bit. I just grabbed the same one that I drilled the holes with, and I just, using my hand, just kind of went through to try and get that papery stuff completely out of the way instead of just acting like a flap to not let your things go through. So we did do the first one here. Now, when you do them, you don't want them to be tight on there. You want some room so they can swing and bang around. I put at least 3 knots in it, and you're going to want to do that for sure. But you're probably also, and I will at the end go through and do this to all of the knots, with fishing line, because it's quite slippery. It will, over time, the knot will come undone. So my best solution for that has been just to hit it with some hot glue. Very little, because what it actually does is the hot glue is hot enough to sort of melt them together, and I've had pretty decent success with that. I'm not going to say none of them have ever come undone, but for the most part I find that solves that problem. So we're putting the bead through into the middle. We're going to try and get our ends, I just kind of twirled them to try and keep them together. They won't stay, but just try to keep them as together as you can. Feed them through the top to the bottom. Oh, look, that one worked first shot. Look at me. Oh, yeah. Pull them through. Oops, not with that one. Just that one. And then you're going to find your hole on this one. The bells don't matter, but the butterflies, just make sure they're facing the way you want them to face. Decide what's your front. And then I'm going to feed one through. You don't have to feed them both through this one because we're going to tie a knot, and see where that did not work out very well on that end. So where's my little drill bit? I'm not worried about the splinter per se, I just don't want it to be harder to get through the hole than absolutely necessary. So I'm just going to not with my drill, just spin it a bit so that I can make sure that hole's getting open. Then I will take there we are. Now you can do these as far down as you want. I'm just going to have mine, you know, 1/2 inch or so, enough that they can swing and bang together in the breeze. There, went through first time. Yay. And then you're just going to tie, like I said, I tie minimum 3 knots, maybe 4. And if you are a fisherman who knows how to tie really good knots, go for it. I was trying that, but my eyesight is just not good enough to see what I'm doing with these. Maybe if the string was not so slippery and maybe not clear, I could do a little better, but yeah, that wasn't working for me. So if you have a husband, or you yourself are a fisherman and you can tie, a fisher person, and you can tie fancy knots, do that. I'm just not that girl. Okay. I'm just going to see about how far. Yeah, that's probably good. Even enough. They don't have to be perfect. And tighten it up. And we'll go down to our next size. Okay, after that painful process. We're just going to use some hot glue. And I'm going to just hit all the little knots with it. And like I said, not only is that going to, the glue is going to do what glue does, but it's also going to help melt the fishing line to itself, so it's not going to come undone. So I'm going to do it on the top ones and the bottom ones, and then I'm just going to trim all the knots.